Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there is John. John, our resident millennial. John, how are you doing this evening?
All right, not too bad, not too bad. Yeah. How are you doing, Robert?
Try to contain your
Haven't seen you
excitement.
in so long. It's crazy. Well, I
Yeah, it's
haven't
been
seen
what,
you in so long.
like 10 minutes?
At least. It's like, holy shit.
Right? It's like you're almost within arm's reach.
Almost.
John, it's been a day. It's been a day. It's been a night. It's been a day. It's been a fun night. Last night was a fun night. Had good times
Yes,
last
yeah.
night. Figure we'll talk about that for a little bit on the show tonight. I don't see anybody in the chat. Do you see anybody in the chat? Is anybody watching? Anybody? No? We've got
Oh,
somebody
yeah?
on YouTube, but it might just be you.
It might just be me.
It might just be us alone now. We've ramped it up. We have 0 people watching us
Doing
now.
better than ever.
Right, right. I mean, it's you don't want too large of a crowd. Not in the days of social distancing. I see Anna Voltis actually is there. Hello, Anna Voltis. It's good to see you this evening. There's a
How's it going,
we
sir?
do what? What'd you say, John?
I said, how's it going, sir? That's all I said.
Oh, speaking of Anna Voltis, we got something. You got something? We got something.
Yeah. We're going to have Anna Voltis on the show Friday. She's going to be here on Friday to talk about German culture and whatnot.
Wait, they have that?
Apparently, that's what I'm hearing. So I guess we'll
I
find
don't know.
out for sure.
I could see that. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever gotten to experience German culture. In fact, I have never experienced culture outside of anything here in America. And Americanized versions
Yeah,
of people's culture is not the same thing.
correct. So yeah, hopefully we'll be getting some good information on that. I mean, that was basically because like over the weekend, actually last weekend, I'd realized that I didn't know dick about German culture. Series of like thoughts that brought me to that eventual conclusion, and I was just like, oh, I don't know dick about it, but I know a German, so I think it'll be fun for the show.
So here's a question
We can
for you.
all learn together, as it were. Hmm.
Here's a question for you. So
Okay.
when you have people from another country move into say a country like America, right? And they bring their culture with them. Do you think they're ever able to really have their own their own true culture, or is it all are they all in some way Americanized? Like, do they it can never really
I get what you
capture
mean.
the true culture of back home. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if you're not living in a community full of people of that culture, it's a lot more difficult. So, I mean, I think you bring like if you come here, you bring a smaller, like more kind of bite-sized version
Right,
of your culture, especially if it's one that has like extremely different values
right. Struggle is just
than the
not to
U.S. You know,
let it get too diluted, right?
right?
So I
I
see we
mean,
have Wyatt and RRC and Stephen Ignoramus.
RRC,
We've got a whole
what's up,
we've
guys?
got it's like a Freedom Scoop buffet, as it were. Scoop after scoop
Whoa,
showing up.
Steven, there's only one boomer on this show. Okay, that's it.
Yep, yep, yep. And I fly my freak flag proudly. I don't care. I don't care. Wyatt says the debate was garage, and I have to agree with that.
I agree. It was.
I see Random Randy in the house with an egg roll. Uh, uh, sorry, I meant to say Coomer's nice. Uh,
Okay, well, that's correct. Yeah. Uh, RRC saying, speaking of which, hit me up this weekend. Let's make some crazy stuff happen. Yeah, aren't you in Florida right now?
are you in Florida
RRC?
right now?
I know
Still?
he was. Yeah, and he didn't answer my text. No, it's
Mm,
okay. It's fine. I get it.
that
I get it. We're not cool enough to hang out with you. I
I've
get
heard
it.
that's kind of rude. I've
I
heard there's a little bit of nope. We're
have
back.
too. Oh, he's back. That's why he's okay. Gotcha.
Wait, back home or
Yeah,
back?
for sure, though. I imagine he means back home. But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, we'll get into contact and we'll I don't know what you have planned, but it sounds fun. Whatever it is, I'm down.
Are you, John? There's no telling what it could entail.
Yeah.
Steven says, how far uphill both ways did you have to
Oh, I
walk
never
during
got
your
a text from
25
you.
hour
Maybe I have the wrong number. I don't
during
know.
the 25-hour commute to school? We actually went to school on well, back in our day they were called buses. It was like a big yellow school bus, and it would go. It was able to go uphill both ways without us having to walk. Um,
Wait, in the snow, right?
Peaceful
It's always in
Pyromaniac
the
says, "Hey,
snow,
the gay
uphill
couple
both
is on.
ways.
Nice. You guys are super. In my opinion, we're the gay couple. That's nice.
Oh,
Is it
well,
because?
thank you for being so supportive. I appreciate it. Like, you have no idea how hard it is
Hey,
sometimes.
while we've
Okay.
got all you folks here, um, just want to remind
Yes.
you, the like button is your friend. You should press it and make friends with it.
That like button.
Ooh.
I like the like button. I
Robert,
don't know about
is
you
debt
guys,
still
but I like it.
strength? Is debt still strength? Debt has never been strength. Debt has just been a necessary evil. I mean, it really is what it is. I mean, I don't, there's
Yeah.
there's no way to escape it. There just is no way to escape it. RC says, yes, let's all get together this week and have a couple of ideas. Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Ooh,
Are we still living with each other? Yes, we are
sounds
still living
kinky.
with
All
each
right.
other. John's GoFundMe is down there, and you could make
Yeah,
that
Robert's
stop.
still living with me, and it's actually pretty annoying.
You could, you
It's
could,
true. We can make that
if
stop, and
if you
please
if you
do,
don't
because
like if
Robert
you
is
don't
just
like gay
not.
if you don't like gay relationships, the easiest way to fix that is to donate to John's GoFundMe. Uh, the ambiguously gay dude bros.
Yes, that's true.
Nice. Thanks, Stephen. I see Woodchuck in the house. We're super gay. I like that. Liked and subscribed from Random Randy. Nice to hear. Nice to hear. Prolapse that like
Random Randy
button
said,
like Robert's
"Yeah,
ass.
appreciate it, man."
Good God, prolapsing. God, that's
Jesus.
just horrific.
I mean, he's not wrong, but
I'm not going to say I once upon a time stumbled across a really prolapsed ass picture, but I'm like, no, never, no, God,
no. Have you ever done that on purpose?
no,
You ever found a picture on purpose, or perhaps a video?
no,
You
no.
know,
I used to have
no,
this.
never on
We'll call we'll call
purpose. Never
we'll
out of curiosity.
no we'll call him a friend. Back in the day, back long ago in the early days of the intertubes. Um, he would send emails with just these horrific pictures sometimes, like a guy sitting with his head laid back on a couch and a chick squatting over him, dropping dropping a load on his deuce on his face, and
Oh
it's like,
God.
why do you have to send me this? Because
Uh,
he helped me learn not to just open emails. Right? I mean, he was one of those people that teaches
learn
you
that
that lesson.
somehow. Yeah,
Uh, so,
gotta learn
uh,
somehow.
Steven says, okay, consider yourself rated. Much love. Please sub to their channel, My Ignorance. Gave a thumb up too. Sit
Aw,
on. Anyway, last night
that's funny.
there was
He calls his subscribers ignorance. That's funny. Hang on, because Stephen calls his fans or whatever subscribers, I guess, ignorance. We need a name for people who follow us. I
gap
don't know.
traps.
What do you think?
Call them gap traps.
Traps?
Gap traps.
Well, they are pretty gay,
No,
so
not gay traps. Gap
gap traps.
gap traps.
Oh, gap traps.
Yeah, gap trap. You see, we're the
All right.
generational follow alongs. See,
It's a working title, boys.
right,
It's a
right.
working
That was just the first thing I came.
we'll see what we come up with.
Spitballing. So anyway, there was a train
Cat
wreck.
traps.
Well, actually, it was more like an implosion in a dumpster fire on a train wreck. I mean, it was horrific last night. I don't know a better way to describe it. It was horrible. But I don't want to color the conversation. John, first off, what was your overall impression of the debate? And remember, I heard you laughing throughout.
Yeah, Trump really fucking got me on quite a few things. He really did. Like just like his boorishness, I guess, is probably the best word for it. Uh, you know, it's almost like the juxtaposition of like this nice, like upper class, just pomp and circumstance happening, and it's very important, a momentous occasion, and then it's like a frat boy gets let loose in there, and like somehow he finds his way onto the podium, and he's just like saying the most outlandish shit. It was fucking hilarious.
But you
I loved
loved it,
every
right?
second of Trump's
You,
interruptions. I love not necessarily for like a strategy wise, but just the entertainment value of it was fucking great. The entertainment value was amazing.
so, um, so from, I
And
mean, and this probably appealed to a very large audience. I don't want to say fanboys. I don't want to trolls. I don't. What's the best term I could use for the people that I know were loving it, like you said, that just thought it was hilarious the way he was going about it. Um,
yeah,
I don't even know the. I mean, I'm assuming that there's just
okay.
people like the
So
Proud
let
Boys
me also
loving it.
put it
I don't
this
know.
way. Let me also put it this way, though. I think that, yeah, I mean, obviously, besides the entertainment value, besides the people who would obviously enjoy it like us, um, I do think it hurt him a little bit the way that he went a bit, like he interrupted way too much.
Saint in the
Yeah,
house.
just like way too much, and he wouldn't allow Biden rope to hang himself, which was dumb. Uh, One of the biggest things, like there's a quote from Napoleon, which is, when you're never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. And Biden was really trying hard to make mistakes, but Trump just would not let him. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he obviously had his share of mistakes. Biden did, but he could have had a lot more if Trump would have just gave him a little bit of rope to hang himself.
Well, now you say you think it hurt him a little bit, and my impression of it. Okay, yeah, there was a certain level of Schadenfreude that goes along with watching him uh, be himself, as it were, during that
Yeah,
debate. Um, but I think even with his base, just it was 90 minutes nonstop. I mean, it never relented. And I think even with his base, he
yeah.
damaged himself a lot more than he might have expected he would. Um, so I have to ask this: do you think that this was
Mhm.
a strategic move on his part, knowing that there's two more debates to follow?
Um, a little bit, yeah. So I think so. Then I told you this last night, and this was I haven't like completely flushed it out or anything, but it's kind of my little working theory that what I think he's doing is that he's coming out super strong and hard the first debate, and so he's being extremely aggressive. And then what's going to happen now is Biden's team is going to come up with a new strategy to either do the same or counter that strategy again, and Trump's going to completely flip it for the next one to catch him off guard again. So I think that's what's going on. I think he's going to be much more pleasant the second one, so that Biden's going to start like going after him, and then he can just be like, "What's the deal? I thought we were going to be pleasant tonight. I thought we had agreed we were going
Right,
to do it this way now." So he can kind of
right.
have that little like high road kind of deal. Um, I don't know. I don't know though.
So Saint,
It's hard to predict what any of them are going to do.
yeah, Saint says, I think
Go
he
ahead.
came out looking good, but you're correct. He needed to give Biden more rope. What worried me was the inclusion of militias in the request for denouncing.
Yes, which I am proud of Trump for making that distinction. Because Chris Wallace kind of lumped those together. He
Right,
said, "Oh, white supremacists and militias, and things like that." Which a militia is, I mean, sorry, that's part of the Constitution. Like, it's not a hate group just because you're in a militia. That's not a hateful thing. That's just a group of people agreeing to be in a militia. You know, it's not inherently white supremacist.
Right.
So I am glad that Trump did that with the, okay, well, can you name someone specific, and I'll, decide whether or not to denounce them.
Right. Right.
I don't think he handled the Proud Boy thing very well. I think he could have been less ambiguous with his statement, because now that's the big thing that they're taking. The media and social media and shit. They're all taking those two lines in that one spot.
Right.
He wouldn't denounce white supremacy, and then also he told Proud Boys to stand by. Stand down and stand by, as if waiting for further instruction. That's clearly not what he meant. He probably shouldn't have said stand by. If he had just dropped that part or said it just in a more clear and concise way, I think obviously the media wouldn't have had as much to go after him for. But he kind of said that, and I mean, that just kind of gave them what they wanted.
Yeah. One of the things, talking about militias, I think that I think what we run into with that is the perception of the general American of what a militia is, because we you know, I would my first thought when I think of a militia is the a a large armed citizenry coming together, you know, to fight something off, et cetera, something to that extent, not small groups of militia, that are beholden to their own groups. Now that I get the distinction. I understand what a militia is, and I'm not arguing that. I'm just speaking more to why it might have gotten lumped in because of how people may perceive what they think a militia is supposed to be versus what it truly
Well, it's
is.
because well, it's because there's a bunch of militia groups that have been. It's because there's a
Right.
bunch of militia groups that have been out there, like taking on Antifa in their own little way.
Right.
Defending businesses and such
Sure.
with
Sure.
guns.
And people don't
Not necessarily using them, but having a presence.
right. And this is a but
People don't see that, I
this
guess.
is a this is a bad time to be in a small group of anything. You know what I mean? It really, it's like just
Yeah.
everybody's a bad group. Are you potential terrorists? Are you potential this? Are you potential that? It's crazy.
I mean,
Uh,
everyone's potential anything, right?
right. Sergeant Peterson says, "No way will there be any more debates. I can't see it. I want more." But now, in that vein, there's supposed to be three, and apparently
Yeah,
the
they
council,
agreed to three already.
the debate council.
Damn it.
Well, they part of the discussion after last night's debate was whether or not they should even do the other two. But what they're looking at apparently is trying to find some way to do the debate that will keep more order to it, and I think some of the talk is about a shared mic. So whoever's holding the mic gets to talk. And you won't have a fucking mic
Yeah.
if it's not your turn to talk, which does fuck up the free open discourse part of it. So I don't know if they would eliminate that or how they would do it. Uh, Tinchy in the
Yeah.
house, he says, "Can't you just shut up, man?" is a great soundbite. Yeah, it was. He said that, and I was I was like, oh shit, he did fuck, he called him a clown. He called him a clown at one point, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
Joe, you didn't want to do that, and you could tell he was frustrated that he let himself say it, but um,
Yeah.
but
Clearly, Trump was trying really hard to get under his skin.
right, and
Like, Trump was trying really hard to get under his skin.
did I not predict that this is what he would do? When we were talking about the debate before, I was like, he's going to come out and he's going to attack Joe and try and keep him rattled, so he'll say stupid shit. But he didn't. He didn't do exactly like you said. He didn't let Biden hang himself. He just wouldn't. It's like, Don, shut the fuck up for a moment. Let what you're doing work. Let it work.
Right, because it was working.
Yeah, he really had an opportunity to. But so here's a takeaway from last night's debate that I think is going to resonate with some voters. is that it gave me
Mhm.
the I could have gotten the impression that Donald Trump didn't want Joe Biden speaking because he might have said some reasonable things, said some things that, were strong on policy, and Trump didn't seem to have any answers for his own policy questions other than to tout what has been done up to this point. Well, we've done this, we've done that. Um, I mean, I could come away from the debate thinking that Donald Trump just was trying to avoid having to have a serious conversation about policy issues. I mean,
Right. No,
is
for
that is
sure.
is it possible
And
he
I
doesn't
think the reason
have
for that,
a lot to say?
yeah, I mean, what can you say other than look what we were doing pre-COVID? It's more of that, right? That's kind of what his policy positions are because he's trying to fulfill his original campaign promises. He has nothing else really to go on other than that. And, he said law and order like several times. That's what his new thing is. Um, and Biden has, all these like more progressive and, standard Democrat positions to push forward. And that's one of the points where Trump really should have let him go and talk so that he could hit him with the socialist thing. So he could hit him with, your party's not going to let you do this because your party's being co opted. And he tried to bring those points up, but he brought it up before they were pertinent to the conversation.
Right.
Like, he didn't let it happen organically. He just kind of it kind of just fell out of his mouth any
He
opportunity he could. And it did not look good in my opinion. I don't think
Yeah,
that that was a good move to do.
and he kept wanting to attack about Hunter the whole time,
But we
right?
knew that was going to happen.
Right, but he wouldn't let that go, and I'm like, you're starting to sound like a Democrat up there, looking for an impeachment. Just calm down, let it go. They're not, it's obvious that they're not going to make this a part of the conversation or are attempting not to. So I don't know. I he didn't seem in 4D mode last night. That's where I'm just trying to wrap my head around it because
Right.
it doesn't seem like he was playing that debate smart last night. And he's got to play all three smart.
Right. I agree. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think maybe he's feeling the pressure just from like everything that's going on in the country. Plus, he has to go and be on national television. Arguing with Biden, who might just replace him. That's a lot of pressure for someone to be under, especially at his age. It could just be feeling the strain. You know.
And Saint says I think it's a valid thing to bring up if the timing is right. As Sewell says, Hunter took millions from foreign adversaries. Provably, his father is running for president. That is highly relevant. I get that there's relevance there, but to to shoot those things out of context just to attack Joe's character looks more like weakness than it does strength. Because when it's all said and done, um, even continued attacking about that didn't result in anything overall for him, right? Am I correct? I mean, did we really hear anything that really spoke to anything other than Biden saying, most of what he was saying was just bullshit, right? I mean, we didn't,
Yeah, yeah.
and the moderator didn't pick up on it and say, okay, well, let's go ahead and discuss this issue. He just let it go. He's like, we're not
Yeah,
talking about
and that
that.
was really weird too. Was the moderator? The moderator himself was really weird too. Like, and I love that Trump called him out on it when he said, "Oh, I didn't realize it'd be debating you. I thought it'd be debating him." But that's fine.
But he wasn't debating anybody. There was no debate last night. And I mean,
Uh,
I'm not.
that
Oh, you're cutting out, John.
uh, was even better. That he added that
You should hear you. You sound funny.
fun
You're
but
yeah, you're frozen up. You're just stuttering in little
what
bits here and there.
was really weird, he did seem to
I don't even know if he hears me. Oh, and he's gone. So anyway, Tinchy, don't forget, guys. Top link. Yes, please. That GoFundMe's there. Don't forget about it. Steele says that the timing was bad. The timing was bad last night. Saint says, and I agree with that. And I understand that it's a conflict of interest. And I have to say this, Seawall, and I've said this many times before, that if there is corruption, I don't understand why a major investigation was not opened. I mean, the Justice Department has the ability to open an investigation. The administration has the ability to open that investigation, and they never did. And that's what I don't understand, is if you're going to make these accusations that there was that kind of corruption, and I said this way back when it first started coming out, investigate it. If Hunter Biden is worth investigating, investigate it, make it a thing, and hold Joe Biden accountable if he is guilty of some sort of corruption. It wasn't open because of political pressure. And, but I'm sorry, but Donald Trump is not one to me, it seems to be worried about political pressure if he wanted his administration to open an investigation into this. He could have done this as soon as they found out, the talk about Hunter Biden started going on. Now, is it going to look like he's, opening an investigation against his opponent? Possibly, but if there's something there, investigate it. I mean, the Democrats investigated him for what, 2 years? 2 fucking years over Russia?
Yeah.
I mean, this has got more substantial meat to chew on, apparently. So if it
there's
does,
actual evidence for this, unlike Russia.
Right.
There's actual evidence there.
I mean, if something wrong happened, then let's get it out there and let's turn it into a criminal offense. And that's why I'm very surprised that even coming from the administration, Sewell says, yeah, he couldn't do it because he was unable to replace Obama appointees in the DOJ, but he's got Barr. I mean, if I can't imagine Barr isn't as deep in his pocket as he needs to be for something like that. But now,
I actually agree with Hannah Voltis there in the chat. From a foreign perspective, the debate was an absolute disgrace to the country. I absolutely agree with that.
And I 100% wholeheartedly agree with that. I thought it was it was embarrassing that this was our president standing up there. I mean, the last thing he needed to do was be in Twitter mode during a debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Elephant Man. He's busy tonight. Says he's checking in. Good to see you.
Do us
a favor. Hit that like button. It likes you if you like it. Saint says, don't get me wrong, in Avoltis it was bad, but Trump came out looking better than Biden. I don't know that he did. I mean, you can't. Here's why where I think Biden doesn't really look bad after the debate. He doesn't look good and he doesn't look bad. Is he never got a chance to talk about anything, and that to me is the essence of the debate. Is who was able to stand toe to toe on policy issues, questions about policy that are being asked. That's what the debate is about. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Trump just destroyed any real debate opportunities that were going on by constantly undermining the whole structure of it. After having agreed to the parameters of the debate and agreeing to allow the conversation to occur, I don't know. I don't know that he came out looking better than Biden. Now, I will say from the meme standpoint, from the meme world, yes, Trump came out looking better than Biden did because there's so much to meme about in this. But from the standpoint of voters, I don't know that he came out looking better than Biden. I would honestly say this one just needs to be scrapped and not counted because nobody came out a winner in this one. Saint says,
Yeah.
Sewell says,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
because
mean,
they still
so
had to
even
be.
to the average voter.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no. So even to the average voter, yeah, Trump made a lot of good points against Biden, but at the same time, people don't remember a lot of like the bits that he was saying. They remember the overall like attitude that he had toward it, and it was that's what they're going to remember is just his boorish attitude, and I don't think that's going to be as good.
So now Sewell says Trump has been polled as looking better and winning the debate. Now, if you think about that, and then we go back to what Anna Volta said from a foreign perspective, the debate was an absolute disgrace. You've got mainstream media on both
Hmm.
sides saying that the debate was questionable at best. Okay, and I understand we polls, but what does that say about people are that think that this was anybody that thinks that this was a good debate? I would question their judgment. Because you weren't looking for a debate then. You were just looking for this mudsling competition. You were looking for what mud wrestling. That's really what you wanted, right? You wanted mud wrestling. Well, you got it. But
Yeah.
it wasn't a debate, And I don't know. Trump came out looking extremely questionable to me as far as when it comes from a decorum standpoint. I mean, dude, you need to represent. You need to fucking represent.
Yeah, no, I think he was too much Trump. He didn't dial it back enough just for that. Like he didn't, like I said at the beginning, he didn't give Biden enough rope to hang himself so that Trump could come in with the haymakers. He just came out swinging immediately, and I think he just kind of gassed out. He tired himself out.
Uh,
To use
Steve,
the boxing terminology.
Steven says Ignatz pounce on these boomer ass takes. Nephilim Ninja in the house. He said, I thought Biden won. Steven says, it was a master debate. Trump won, boomers, the artist says. Steven loved it so much. Sewell says Trump's plan was to pull Biden down, and he succeeded. And look, I have to honestly say I don't agree that just relentlessly throwing insults succeeded in pulling Biden down. In fact, there were points in times where Biden actually looked presidential by, you know, he would just stop talking a couple of times, just like, all right, I'm just not going to speak, right? I'm just like,
Yeah.
he tried to maintain some level of decorum, and he did. He lost his shit a couple of times, boomer style, but
Yeah.
you know,
Which is
he
what he was trying for. But
what
it's like,
what he didn't do was he didn't get the opportunity to say anything that
oh,
undermined himself as a presidential candidate, which is
give me
what
1 second.
ultimately Trump would have wanted. Ray, get out of that room. So Stephen Decorum, the 1950s called. They want their style back. Thank you, Stephen. It's so nice to see. Fuck you. But anyway, post jazz doesn't matter who won. We're all losers in the master debate. I have to give you a thumbs up on that one.
Sorry, I just had to kill the child real quick.
That's good. It's your own
Yeah,
fault for
she's
not
dead
locking
now.
the door. Alpha Man says I had to wait till 1 hour 20 minutes for Trump to call Biden out for calling troops stupid bastards. Yeah, I mean it was he had so many other things that he wanted to zing him with throughout the debate. There's a long list. Anna Volta says if this had been a formal debate, Trump would have been disqualified. True, I would have to agree that he probably would. If you could have disqualified someone like a normal debate, yeah, I would have to agree that might have happened. Face Palmer, yeah, but Trump didn't condemn white supremacy. Trump is never going to openly
He's
condemn
done it
white supremacy.
before.
He has in a sense.
He did it before.
He's by
Come
saying I
on,
don't
Robert.
support these people.
Okay.
Do you remember when David Duke came out in support for Trump, and he said I
Do you
don't
remember
have a.
when Richard Spencer came out in support of Joe Biden?
Okay,
Is he
okay. Can I
denounced his
finish what I was
exposure?
gonna? Let me finish what I was gonna
I
say.
guess.
When David Duke came out in support of him, he never just came out and said, "Oh, fucking David Duke's a piece of shit. I don't want his support." He said, "I don't know David Duke. He can basically he can support who he wants." I mean, it's like
Yeah,
okay,
he's right. He's
but
like, I
I've
don't know who the
never,
fuck that is.
he doesn't really go out of his way to condemn things, mostly unless it's a Democrat.
Well, because yeah,
Right.
right. He doesn't
Um,
want to be playing into their hands. He doesn't want to seem weak.
Steven says, Woodchuck says, let's be honest, whatever you think about the candidates, the moderator sucked. Um, he, I, I don't know. Do you think he sucked? I think he worked hard to try and keep control. I mean, he talked back to the fucking president. He scolded the president. That takes a little bit of balls, you know. I mean, mildly,
I guess.
small. But no, he's not one. He would not have been my pick for the moderator. He wasn't great.
No.
It's
Joe Rogan would have been a much better moderator.
well, I guess it comes down.
Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, and Eddie Bravo, all three of them.
I guess what it comes down to is like, what did people really want the debate to be about? Did they want it to be about policy issues, or do they want a moderator that's going to ask the gotcha questions? Right? What kind of debate do you want to see?
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that he was the one that came up with the questions. I would have much rather the questions have come from a brain trust, as it were, secret questions and brought forth. But anyway, Post Jazz, is this AM radio playing through the speakers of Buick? Actually, Pontiac. Thank you very much. In a formal debate, Chris Wallace would have been ejected. Possibly. Who would you rather seen in there moderating the debate, Face Farmer? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. Yeah. For everyone
Steve
in the chat,
said, "Damn, John hired Hillary."
And
why should I give a shit about foreign opinions? They live under the umbrella of American protection and American economic backing. They would bow if they thought it was threatened. It's the standpoint. It comes from the standpoint of, if you're gonna be the superpower, I don't know. You got to represent, right? I mean, it doesn't it speak to diplomacy? Doesn't it speak to how we're going to interact globally? I mean, it's kind of that same eat shit attitude that he had with Merkel and people like that. It's like that can burn bridges, and if they think we're a laughing stock, how much are they going to take some of the stuff we say seriously? Not everybody's just sitting around with their hand out, hoping America shits in it. Artist says, what is this, some kind of scally cap convention? Scally cap convention. I only wear this because John got it for me for my birthday, so I want him to feel special.
Yeah, I wanted us to match.
Saying Richard Spencer supports Biden. Yeah, you know what? I get it. There's probably, these people probably don't fucking know half the fucking crazies that support them. I mean, there's no telling, right? What kind of support they're getting from some of these PACs and things like that, and the motivations. Yeah. Ed says, do you remember when Ann Coulter came out as a virulent bigot? Did she? Did she do that? I think she
probably.
Sewell says, in the idea of decorum in presidential debates is much a more modern concept. You forget it during a historic presidential debate. One called the other a hermaphrodite, and the other called him a cuckold.
That sounds like modern debate to me.
Right.
I don't know what you mean. Not much has changed.
Doesn't sound too far off.
Except we would say simp and cuck, but
Random Randy, how double dog dare you? We put a man on the moon with our pure credit. Oh, I see Eliza, the token Aussie, checking.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Nice to see you. It's always nice to see someone down under. Is it still okay to say down under?
I don't know. It's probably not PC.
I don't know what's a PC anymore. I just don't know. Saint says, at this point, the country is going to burn either way, so why shouldn't I be entertained? Granted, I'll give you that. That's just me with my, my boomer mentality, of course, You guys just fucking talk or something, say something worth listening to. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to for me. I could just sit and read his Twitter feed if I want to get that shit. Yeah. Right? Why do I want to give up an hour and a half of my time to watch him do it, on a debate stage? There are other things that could have been done. Ed says Ann Coulter makes Stephen look pro-black. I am. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Steven is a professional black.
Do you get paid for that, Stephen? That's what
Apparently.
happens when you're a professional.
I don't
Seawall
know.
says if
He
you hold the
plays music, he plays jazz. I don't know.
Seawall
Just
says
saying.
if you hold the power, you decide the rules. If they don't like it, they can go out on their own. Now, do you really want Trump to take that attitude with the presidency? The one with the most toys wins, and I have the best toys ever.
Oh, Jesus, Steven. Always sending these. I'm scared to open these links.
Ed says,
Oh,
okay,
yes,
she
we
makes
saw this
midget
one,
look
yeah.
pro black. Post chat says the ghost of William F. Buckley is concerned with Trump's bridge burnings. Right? Nice. That was a debate from the late 1800s. Anna Volta says a debate without decorum is not worth having.
uh, well, I don't know. Depends on what you're trying to get out of it, right?
Well, let's.
If you're trying to get entertainment value out of it, then that's perfect to not have decorum. But yeah, if you're actually trying to have a worthwhile debate, you know, about like issues and, you know, philosophy, stuff like that, then yeah, probably you need at least some decorum, at least enough to let the other person speak. You know.
Well, what if we just go ahead and just qualify it as not a debate? It wasn't a debate.
It
So
wasn't. Yeah.
it really wasn't. So we don't have to worry about it. There didn't need to be any decorum in it because it wasn't a debate. We can go with that. So if they were
Real
looking for
quick.
shit show, they did.
Well, real quick, Random Randy is saying, I see there being a slight increase in riots if Trump wins, but full on civil war if Biden wins. I actually see it the opposite. If Trump wins again, that's going to be full on civil war. If Biden wins, I think the riots continue as they are. I don't think that there's going to be a full on civil war just because I don't think that there's any kind of revolutionary potential in the right at the moment. They're just not motivated.
Steve is over under on Robert's FICO. There is no under my FICO. There's only over. I can only go up from where I'm at. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Artist says if you're trying to play a drinking game, a debate without decorum is perfect. Well, that's true.
Yeah,
That would
exactly.
have been
See?
a great one for, a drinking
Yeah.
game.
If I didn't have to get up at 7 o'clock this morning, I might have considered it.
Seawall says, yes, the world will either give us respect and we will return it, do what we say out of fear, or go off on their own. America owes them nothing at this point. They screwed us, had us police the
Had us
world,
police the
and then shit
world,
on
and
us for it.
then yeah,
Yeah, yeah, well, but so, I mean, we should. Isn't that how we play global politics? Isn't that how everybody plays it? Get people to do stuff for you and then you shit on them? Because I think we've done that
yeah.
a few times. We've shit on a few countries we got to do shit for us.
Well, yeah. You get them to do shit for you, and if it goes good, you take the credit. If it goes bad, you let them take the blame.
And then
that's standard. Like that's one of the 48 rules of power.
and
One
and
of the
then
48 laws of power
and
is
after
doing
the
that.
fact, no matter which way it goes, after the fact, you shit on them. You don't give a shit about them until the next time you need something from them.
Yeah.
That's kind of how global politics works anymore. Uh, Elvin says there are only two positions now: more gov or less gov. That's true, and that's
True.
that's
Yeah.
really what you got to ask yourself, because the only way to have less gov is to not elect either one of these guys,
Yeah.
because we're going to
Crazy,
have
right?
do what,
Say crazy, right?
right? But that's
Yeah.
not going to be possible. One of them, two of them is going to have to win. But yeah, you're going to have more gov, no matter which one wins. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know that I
For sure.
buy into Trump's talk that he's he's been focused on deregulating this and deregulating that. I
He's
mean,
deregulated something, some
sure,
industry stuff like
pulling
business.
shit from Obama, like trying to change the shit that Obama change back stuff that Obama did.
Oh.
That seems to be where his focus has been lately. Is like continuing to try and roll back Obama era stuff. And I get that that's deregulation, but some of it makes me wonder if it's not just trying to get things back to a safe place to play as a business tycoon. You know what I mean? I don't know. But he didn't. They.
Oh, real quick, I want to address something that's going on in the chat there because I just had a good idea. Stephen, ignoramus himself, was saying, "Who is our greatest ally and why is it Israel?" I don't think it is. I think who our greatest ally should be, at the moment at least, is Japan, and I'll tell you why. One, they're based as fuck. Two, they're pretty isolationist, or at least they have a history and a culture of isolationism. And three, they're actually pretty fucking ahead of the curve on a lot of technological things. There's a lot we can gain with an allyship with them, which obviously we already have. But I think we should focus more on that than on any other country for, diplomatic relations, or friendly diplomatic relations. I think that
Well,
would be really good for us.
well, see, now I agree with Seawall said that in the chat says
Hey, Seawall said the same thing.
he
Look at
wants a
that.
hardcore
Great
isolationist
minds.
America, and I agree with that. However, one thing that I've realized over these 4 years with Trump is that while he's not going to pull that trigger, he hasn't pulled the trigger, and he's hinted at it. He's given the indication that he might want to, but he's not. So in that's the trade off for me. Is like, okay, if you're not going to pull the trigger and make us isolationist, and you're going to attempt to have these relationships with the rest of the world, well, then you're going to have to do it with some modicum of some composure, something, especially when you're representing the country in something like the presidential debate, or, out speaking to world leaders and things like this. That's,
Yeah.
you got to expect, look, if you're going to play it this way, that's fine. If you want to be isolationist, then fine. Fuck your relationships with other world leaders, and fuck what the world thinks of you, but shut us down. Close us off. Bring us to a more isolationist point, to where all we're dealing with is global trade. Get us away from these countries where we have troops hanging out, you know, potentially waiting to get killed for no reason. you know, it's like, let's do that, but you got to pull the trigger. If not, then you got to represent a decent face to the world. But that's probably just my boomer mentality. You
Yeah.
know, um, you know,
Think it'll be fine. We
little.
actually have over on D Live, Mary Maybe Golette, probably butchering that, is saying greatest ally should be on the same continent. I refuse to be friends with those maple munching queers up north. Just saying.
Hey, you know
I
what? You know what?
mean,
I
I'm just kidding. Canadians are okay. They're all right.
we
Oh my
should
god.
love. You know what?
Just jokes. Jokes.
Canada is a worst case scenario, they're a great buffer from an invasion in the from the north. Like if Russia was like, let's do it by land, we'll go down through. Guess what? They got to get through Canada, right? Um, I don't know. I think Canada could be a strong ally if if they just let us tell them what to do. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I mean,
right.
unless they're going to be pushovers, they have no place in the world, really. I mean, what are they doing? Why are they here? Why do we
Um,
need Canadians?
Now,
For what?
you brought up Japan. Is Japan strong? Is Japan capable of being a strong enough ally to make a difference?
Well, it
You
depends
know,
on what you mean. Like
on the world
militarily,
stage,
no. Like militarily, I don't think so.
right?
But because I think there was only recently that they were allowed to have a military again after World War II. We were their military after World War II. That was part of the agreement. Was they don't get one. Uh, but I think that was recently. I mean, in the past like 10 or 15 years, I think they were allowed to start having their own military. Uh, but yeah, I mean, from like a technological aspect, absolutely sharing, any kind of technology with them is great. Uh, they're ahead of the curve, like probably by 10, 15, 20 years even than we are. So I think we need to get our hands on some of that.
Steven says, "What is the proper amount of ex-wives for a boomer with regrets?" So basically, a boomer.
Is the proper amount of XYs? It depends on how much money you have to split between all of them
Hmm.
for alimony and child support and such. So at
Right
least four. At least four, I would
now,
say.
with regrets. Can it be a boomer who doesn't care about their regrets? like, like if you have them and you just, you know, put it in the luggage that you carry around. It's not a big deal. What do you call that? Oh, yeah, being a boomer. All right.
Right.
Uh, Marie says Japan's youth population is in decline. And then Seawall says Japan can become a militarily strong ally. All we have to do is release them from the treaty, and Japan has had a defensive military since World War II.
Okay, yeah, that clears it up a bit more. Yeah, I mean, my, Japanese military facts kind of stop after about, I don't know, 1650 or so. So I don't really know much more about it after that.
So Israel. I don't know, man. That one's the. I don't know what kind of ally is Israel. I don't know why that is so important that they be one of our strongest allies. Again, I understand that they're a corridor into the Middle East, as it were, but I don't know, that fucking bullshit. Just Israel is going to be the end of us one of these days if we don't just. That's that would be a great step towards isolationism. If we just said,
Yeah.
you know what, Israel, we love you, but we don't fucking care anymore. Like, we don't care. Whoever wins over there wins. Fucking nuke each other into the Garden of Eden if you want, and figure out who owns what. I don't give a fuck. Do your thing, because my holy land is right here where I'm at. This is my holy land.
Right.
I don't know. It's all that bullshit. Yeah, we got to shut it down. Fuck off. We're full. We don't want any more. We don't need anything else. We can make our own shit. And we can, stop giving it to China to make knockoffs of. And, Walmart would have to revamp its inventory, but, just shut down everything with everybody. Fuck it. I'm just done. I'm just done.
Yeah, I'm done with the rest of the world's nonsense and our nonsense as well, but I have to live here, so yeah.
I mean, does nobody realize we're sitting here shitting our own pants and, we can't even change our own fucking diaper? I mean, it's sad, John. It's just sad. Pyromania, you just want a waifu. That's why you're saying Japan.
Whoa, hang on. I am not a filthy, degenerate weeb, okay? I actually despise anime so much so that any rumors of my weebness, thank you, are completely above suspicion. Thank you very much.
And all of that was lies. Elephant Man says USA-Russian alliance would basically scare the world into peace. Yeah, like that could ever happen. I mean, you could actually, we could have a US and Russian alliance. We could, but you would never be able to trust it. Never ever be able to trust it. And I'm saying, and that's coming from a hardcore Cold War motherfucker who did not like those rusky red bastards back in the day. But I'm just saying, neither side could trust the other side. I mean,
yeah.
I don't care how strong you think your alliance is. We would never be able to trust each other.
Thank you, Saint. See, Saint says you're not a degenerate weeb. No, of course not. You're just normal degenerate. Thank you, Saint. That is 100% correct.
It says there's a ratio chart for it that goes along with the amount of money you have. As your wealth goes up, the acceptable number goes up. It has
the ex-wives, yeah.
Actually, it's sometimes it works in reverse. Sometimes the more ex-wives you have, the poorer you get, poorer as you go along, and you don't even have to give them money; they just destroy you. They just wind up destroying you.
They suck you by from hell.
Right.
Correct.
They suck your will to live out of you. That's the point of the red heifer to end. That's the point of the red heifer to end. Seawell says, Rob, ought to explain why the U.S. is allies with Israel, but it may get you banned on YouTube.
No, it's not.
I understand. I do. I understand why we are. The political implications of being allies with them, and militarily speaking, etc. But you know, and I know the underlying reason that a lot of people will say, and I get that too. But we don't need it. We don't need it. There's no impact. Like my daily life is not impacted by being friends with Israel or not being friends with Israel. There's really nothing.
Yeah, I can give a shit less.
About the only, I tell you what I do like about Israel is they have groundbreaking, they do groundbreaking research into marijuana over there and cancer.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while. It's not that impressive.
Well,
been doing that for like 15 years.
Actually,
so it's not that impressive.
Actually, as it pertains to diseases and things like this, medicinal, they do it. They have some major hospital facilities over there that they work on it with.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Yeah. Hashtag you too.
Yeah.
Who was it? Peaceful Pyromaniac says, so John must have a thing for Japanese girls, right? Confirmed. It is confirmed.
I don't have a thing against Japanese girls.
Prance 5 Japanese girls into that room with him, and I guarantee you he's bound to have a conversation with at least one of them.
Yeah, no shit. I'm going to be like, first of all, why are you in my room? Secondly,
how long can you stay?
Right. How long can you stay? Yeah, I don't have a problem with...
Are there 5 of you? Are you doing it in shifts, or is this just a round robin?
Right.
No,
I don't think I'm going to have time for all 5 of you, all right? I'm just not that impressive. So, Josh Strauss.
Elephant Man says, who shoots our astronauts into space? We've got Elon Musk for that now. We don't need Russians for any of that. Sewell says, peaceful, I am the weeb wath yellow fever in this chat. Yes, you are. Yes.
He is, yeah.
We agree.
Yeah, Sewell is the local, weeb.
Alpha Man says, in 1969, would you think Russians would give us a ride into space? Yes, actually, in that time, I would. We had. There was still a little bit of something there, but you know what? We kind of started shitting on Russia after World War II because they were a big help in World War II, and they kind of didn't really get the credit like all the bigwigs and. Here in the U.S.
Whoa.
And what was his name? What's his McNugget?
That sounds like commie treason talk there, boy.
What was? Why am I blanking on his fucking name? Who was Churchill? Churchill was overseas in the UK, in England, right?
Yes, yeah.
So there's Churchill and all. They took all the credit, and Russia was just kind of like, yeah, they were there, they helped. No, they were pretty impactful there at the end. They did some things, right?
They did some stuff. So but they're still filthy commies.
Right. So, we kind of started shitting on them back then. But, in 69, helping us get up into space, but then something, over the years, things just kept degrading till in the 80s, it's like... They were maybe that's what happened. Maybe there was one of our astronauts was like looking at shit on the spaceship that he shouldn't have been, and then they're like, oh, we can't trust these fucking Americans, right? And so that they're like, we must make KGB. We must make KGB watch Americans. I don't know. You tell me. Peaceful Pyromantic, it says stupid potato eaters. Weirdly enough, Sewell says, weirdly enough...
we had a whole famine about that, just so you know. You're not being very culturally sensitive there, Peaceful Pyromaniac. Not very peaceful of you.
Sewell says, weirdly enough, Israel produces most of the hormones transgender people use in the USA. Oh, that's not surprising.
And there goes the stream.
They do a lot of medical research over there. They do a lot of stuff.
There goes our whole channel now.
Sewell says Russia should be condemned for its actions in World War II. They should be condemned for their actions in World War II?
Some of them, yeah. Well, some of their actions.
I don't think there's anybody free of, condemnable actions during World War II. I'm pretty sure we might have done some kind of damnable things ourselves.
No,
Come
no,
on, surely.
no,
Oh, that's right.
never.
Because America is always so poised when we're at war, right?
Yeah, no, it
We
was
do we're
fine. It
gentlemen
was
at war.
fine.
We're gentlemen at
Yes,
war.
of
And the
course.
rest of the world does deplorable things, but we
Yes, absolutely horrible things. We turn our nose up in disgust at the
right,
horrible
right,
things that they do. Of
right.
course, absolutely.
You can't believe some of the things that other people from around the world did during Vietnam, and we never did anything. We tried our best to stay above that stuff, or in Iraq. I've seen some of the shit that we managed to pull during those times. I don't know. I'm sitting here. I'm like, some of it is just laughable, like, but not in a ha ha way. It's just laughable. I'm like, you guys really did that? Come on, really? Are you that bored? The atrocities.
I like what Elephant Man said. Sorry, the one that just came in.
Let
So
go
we're
of
talking about
Vietnam.
we're talking about the future, not the past, right? We let go of Vietnam.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's all in the past, But so Sewell says that the atrocities they committed are unspeakable: mass graves, mass execution, forced labor, violating the laws of war on a daily basis. There were no good guys on the Eastern Front of World War II. Listen, here's one thing that I know: no one, and I mean no one, on either side is free from the capability of doing some very horrendous and atrocious things in a time of war. Like, I don't care who it is, and I get it. Some people go too far. That whatever. You think that they went too far. That's fine. But I can guarantee you that there have been plenty of times, no matter who it was, whether it was China, whether it was Japan, whether it was Germany, anybody, everyone has been seen doing despicable things during war, and it's not to justify anybody doing anything, but if we can sit around and we can point fingers and overshadow the good that people do by the bad that they do, or we can just accept that everybody's fucking bad. Everybody's bad.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah.
Especially in a time of war. I mean, all bets are off during war. I mean, you're going to do things. Shit. I mean, I've listened to people talk about things that they did during wartime, and I'm just like, God damn. And they're like, I can't believe I did those things. But you're not. It's just it was wartime. There was crazy shit. Um,
Yeah.
Ed says, was there a Holocaust? Why would you ask that? Isn't that up to you to decide?
That's
Just
up
like
for each man to decide for himself.
Right. I mean, it's like the moon landing.
Now, has there ever been a Holocaust in the history of the world? Yes, there has.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one you're speaking about specifically, J. Edgar, but there absolutely have been Holocausts in the past.
I mean, I will say this: if we ever wanted to hold anybody, people accountable, really hold people accountable for shit like that, we could, and we're welcome to try and do it. But we still have to hold ourselves accountable. I would be willing to bet that we did some pretty atrocious things in colonizing this country and taking it from the Native Americans. I've heard rumors that some pretty nasty things happened.
No.
It was all clean. It was all it was all simple.
The natives sold their land for a bunch of beads and like other shiny things.
And we would never like bury large amounts of them in mass graves or anything like that.
No.
Right. We wouldn't do shit like that.
Nope.
Right. That's not America. Elephant Man says everyone is both good and bad, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That's what we have to accept. That's the problem that we can't. We seem so difficult to accept these days from our fellow humans. Sergeant Peter says things happen during the fog. Truth.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Fog
right?
war, man.
It is what it is. I can only imagine some of the imagine this the threats and the fear of what could be coming in this country, I'm almost willing to bet that we don't do it with decorum. I don't know, since that's the word of the day. There won't be any. There won't be any 10 paces, turn and shoot. You know, a
Yeah.
gentleman.
See, that's what we need to do is bring back like an honor culture. Like that's really what we need.
The
We
artist.
need a high trust society. We don't have that anymore.
The artist says, "I've never done anything to any Native American."
It's true. I haven't either. Well, actually, that's not true. I've paid and was paid by a Native American. I worked for one. My karate instructor and then turned MMA coach was Native American, full blood Cherokee. Like grew up on the reservation in the Grandfather Mountains in North Carolina and everything.
Um,
So,
I have done things with Native Americans, to Native Americans, but I can honestly say it was all consensual. So I'm clear. Uh, Sewell says, but a lot of lives would have been spared if France invaded the Rhine land after Germany remilitarized it. Well, yeah. Well, if there, that was a bad time. All the coulda, woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? Ed says, I plowed a Native American. Wow.
that must have hurt.
Elfman says, Robert, if I call out Native culture, will you get mad? No, I won't get mad if I mean, I trust me. If you're gonna talk about the atrocities that Native Americans could commit, I'm right there with you because I'm very familiar with some of the amazing torture techniques that they would employ just to kill
No,
somebody.
Robert, no. They were all just hanging out. They didn't know anything about war. They never killed
No,
each
no,
other. No, no, no,
no.
no. They never killed each other. Nothing like that. They were just hanging out, and everyone was peaceful until the white man came, and that's when war came to the Americas. Never beforehand.
I don't know which was my favorite, the the honey torture or the buckskin torture.
Why don't you enlighten us there,
Well,
Robert?
there were a couple of different, like, so the honey torture was, so basically what they would do is they would take you, I'm not going to call out tribes or anything, but they would take you and they would bury you up to your neck in the dirt in sand and then near ants, like red ant hills, that kind of shit. And then they would pour honey on your head. And
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
but the other one was with buckskin, and this was pretty just. They would take wet buckskin and they would tie a strip of it around your neck, and they would bind you with wet buckskin as well, to 4 posts and leave you out in the sun and let the buckskin dry. But as the
Mm,
buckskin dries, it shrinks. So the one
right.
around your neck would slowly, slowly start suffocating you as you lay there in the sun burning.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty horrifying.
Kind of twisted, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Artist says, does paying a Native American count as subverting their culture? I thought they used the barter system.
Mm-hmm.
um, Elephant Man says, the Inuit were here for more than 11,000 years and couldn't invent a wheel, but somehow built huge structures south of the USA. Maybe they didn't need wheels. They had,
Yeah.
you don't always have to have
Maybe
wheels.
they just had team spirit. Okay,
Logs, right?
they had team spirit, so they were able to get it done.
The Egyptians did a lot without wheels, right?
And
Like they used
optimism.
logs to get stuff up on the pyramids and stuff, didn't they? Trees or
No, dude, it
something?
was aliens. Come on.
Oh, well, there was that.
Yeah.
Marie says, I think there were multiple land bridges they don't discuss, going both ways, not just one direction. I can agree with that.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, once upon a time, it was all just Pangea, right? Wasn't it? And then it
As far as I
slowly
know.
broke apart. Sewell says there are historical precedent for a cultural technologically reverting. Hmm, I could see that. Did they revert? Did they have wheels at one point and then revert back? The artist says they had no wheels because they had no beasts of burden until Euros came. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe depends on who we're talking about. We're talking about like natives.
He's talking about the
Then
Inuit at first, I believe, or
yeah.
is who he's talking about is the Inuit, and then
I mean, they
and
could
on.
have domesticated like bison or something. I don't fucking know. I don't know
No, but
nothing.
but you have to remember the belief in animal spirits and to put an animal,
Oh,
to
look, see, Seawall had the same idea. Look at that. Me and Seawall are like in tune tonight. That's the second time we've said the same thing.
now see see they revered the buffalo. I mean they only the buffalo was kind of you got to think about cows in India to a certain extent.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
buffalo were there to provide sustenance and tools and materials, but there was a spirit. They were considered in a sense holy because the spirits that resided within the buffalo, the bison, um, you know, you didn't want to fuck the karma up by making that a beast of burden, right? I
Well,
mean,
also,
hell,
artist
you
makes a good point here. Buffalo are not domesticatable animals. Every try to get one to plow a field ain't happening.
yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah.
you can make a pet out of them. There used to be a place in Oklahoma that we would go to, and they had buffaloes that were tamed where you could walk up and you could they weren't. I mean, it's domesticated, but it wasn't. I don't think they were domesticated as far as use as an animal, beast of burden. But I know the Native Americans didn't. I mean, for most part, the Native Americans were following the buffalo. The buffalo led them. They followed the buffalo around
Yeah, yeah,
their
yeah.
territory. They were kind of just like a part of the cycle with the buffalo. So it didn't make sense for them to do that, and there really weren't they horses. I mean, they started riding horses, but I think that was a European influence as well, or was it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was. No, it
Yeah.
was.
Uh,
The Spanish brought horses over for the first time.
Marie says the mound builders had some intelligence. Yes, I mean we used to actually have a Indian burial mound just a couple of a mile and a half from our house that you could see out the back window. And I always wanted to go and investigate it, but I never got a chance to. My grandparents wouldn't let me get that far from the house on my own. Artists, excuse me, Sewell says, they have domesticated buffalo now, but pets is one thing. I don't know how domesticated are they using them as like beasts of burden is the big thing. All it requires is a few generations of selective breeding. Elfman says intelligence and tech don't always go hand in hand. Last night's debate proved that. Uh, it was just a joke. It was a bad one. Seawall says horses were introduced by the Spanish. Aren't well? Spain is considered Europe, right? European.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, though.
Yeah.
Jeez, so you weren't listening when I said that.
When you
Gotcha.
said it, did you say Spain?
Yeah,
Well, I just said that it
I
was
did. Yeah, and the
European
Spanish brought it
influence, and you
over.
said Spanish. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
trying to keep up with the
Like, yeah,
chat.
the
There's
Spanish
so
brought it
much chat
over.
going on, John.
Well, I
Trying.
mean, we're 15 minutes over time anyway,
Oh,
so
bye.
we
We'll
should
see
be
you guys
wrapping up.
later. Thanks for everything, John. Tell them how they can reach us.
Oh my god! All right. So yeah, you can reach us. All of our stuff's in the description down below. We've got our Twitter at the GymGapP. We've got a Discord server. So if you're not in our Discord server, go ahead and jump in there because it's a lot of fun. Good people over there. Fun to hang out. And we've also got yours truly's GoFundMe for
Yes,
trying to not
GoFundMe.
be homeless.
Jump on that GoFundMe.
Yes. Yes, please. Please. We are a quarter of the way to the goal, which is pretty awesome. I got a nice shout out from Matt Christensen on his show on Sunday, so that helped out a lot. That was awesome. Very nice of him to do. So,
Hey,
also if you don't go, if you haven't already, go check out Matt Christensen. He's pretty awesome. What?
I was going to say, and folks, keep an eye on our Twitter feed because I'm going to be pumping John
What?
to post that link out there on Twitter. So share it out there with people and that kind of thing. Get it, in front of people's faces, so that he's got to go, folks. The smell. It's the smell. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
You didn't hear that, did you?
Oh, you're back. No, I
Shut
didn't.
up.
I was cutting out and shit.
Oh, was I?
I was.
You were? Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't hear you
I
cutting
was.
out.
I probably was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't hear what? Good. Thank goodness you didn't hear what I said. So go ahead and finish up.
Uh, yeah. Also check us out on freedomshoot.com, where you can find all of our stuff and other people, such as J. Edgar, Stephen Ignoramus. We got Wyatt from Roundtable Decision over there. Got RRC, who was in the chat earlier as well. And the Freckles and Brit show is over there too. So make sure you go check them out.
Do that.
That's gonna be all for me.
All right, cool. Hey, Elephant Man says he got kicked off Twitter in 7 tweets.
That's actually pretty impressive.
I bet I could do it in 1. All right.
Well, you'd have to have somebody follow you first to report you. Otherwise, if no one reports you, then how can you get kicked off?
Well, we've got followers.
Oh, don't do it to our account. No.
I have followers on my account.
Well, then
you think I'm not, you think I can't get followers? Shit, I know where to buy those. All right, so thanks and much love for all the chat tonight. It's good chat, chit chat, talkity talk.
Yeah. Good episode, guys.
Keep your eyes out for the next debate that's coming up. It's sure to be a humdinger. If the first one's any indication. We'll be back again on Friday night. We're going to be coming at you at 8:30. We should be seeing Anna Voltis showing up on the show. We're going to be talking about a little German culture. Supposedly they have some, and we're going to find out just how diabolical it is. We'll also be back again next Wednesday for another rousing episode of Shooting the Shit. That is at 9:30. Both of those times are in the Eastern time zone, the one and only true time zone. For those of you who are unsure. But we appreciate all the chat tonight. Thanks for all the love and all the likes. And if you haven't hit the like now. And we're going to get the hell out of here. We'll see you on Friday. Until then, keep each other safe. Keep yourselves safe. And love your neighbors. Just love your neighbors. All right, John. We'll see you later. Peace.
That's right. Stay black.
The war will begin.